Hi, I'm Jaimee Andresen, a work-at-home mom passionate about helping entrepreneurs like you build a thriving laser business. Whether you're just starting out, looking to grow, or ready to scale your business, this podcast is for you. We'll dive deep into the world of lasers and other machine crafting equipment, cover topics like business strategies, mindset shifts, customer experience, and creative inspiration. I'll share my own experience navigating business with young kids, building a successful shop. Get ready to learn, grow, and have some fun. Welcome to Party with a Laser. Hello to my friends, both old and new. I'm so excited to be launching my very first podcast episode. Gotta be honest, it feels kind of crazy, but welcome. I think this is going to be a fun way, an inspiring way to kick off this new podcast journey. So I created this space to share the endless learning I've been doing ever since getting into lasers back in 2016 when I joined the makerspace that had a laser. I remember doing the tour of the makerspace and seeing the laser cut for the very first time, and I was hooked. Okay, so first things first, I'll tell you a bit about my background so you can get a sense of the foundation behind all of this. And then from there, I'll share my own laser journey, which has been incredible. We'll finish off with the vision I have for us going forward with this podcast. So I grew up in Oklahoma and I went to Oklahoma State University where I met my lovely husband, Eric. I studied biosystems and agriculture engineering, and he was in the fire protection engineering program. We were college sweethearts. After college, we moved to Texas in the DFW area, and we currently live in Grapevine, Texas. I worked as an environmental engineering for a consulting firm for 9 years before going full-time to work with the laser in 2023. We have 2 young daughters, 2 cats, and a dog named Lily. In 2016, we started our very first Etsy shop. We were making these wooden hanger boards that had these mountain scenes routed into them, and we were actually making them on the balcony of our apartment complex, which worked really good until we got this letter from the apartment complex saying, hey, you can't do that anymore. The downstairs neighbors are complaining about sawdust getting on their balcony. So we had to figure out something else to do. And we looked around and we found a makerspace that we could join that had a full-blown woodworking area. This makerspace had the full workshop and it solved our issues with the sawdust. It also had a lot of other things that we had never even heard before. It had this sublimation machine, it had jewelry, pottery, plasma cutter. It had an entire room dedicated to 3D printers, crafting, and so much more. But my absolute favorite thing that this makerspace had was lasers. There was this large thunder laser and an epilogue laser. We remained at the makerspace until 2020 when the pandemic hit and they closed the makerspace down for a couple of weeks during the pandemic. By the time they didn't tell us any information of when they were going to reopen, there was a lot of uncertainty. So we decided it was time to get our own laser. At the time, we'd actually moved from the apartment complex that we got in trouble for having the sawdust on the balcony to our own quadplex, where we lived in one of the units and rented out the other 3 units. But because we were living in a kind of apartment complex that we owned, we decided to go with a smaller laser. Even though I was going to miss the larger laser bed of the Thunder, we needed something smaller that would fit into the quadplex. And at the time, I decided to go with the Glowforge simply because I did not want to mess with the external water chiller or the external air compressor. I wanted something that was more compact and desktop size. It took a few weeks for the new Glowforge to arrive, and it actually arrived just 1 week before my due date with our first child. I was actually working on my first real project, this little birth announcement sign that had the time, weight, and length for the baby announcement when I went into labor. I wanted to cut out the letters on the Glowforge with 3 of them on the back so that I could add them at the hospital that had her name, birth date, time, and weight and length on it. And I'm waiting for all of this stuff to cut out and engrave on the Glowforge when I went into labor. And let's just talk about how slow the Glowforge is for a second whenever you're waiting on something to finish engraving before you can go to the hospital. We had the Glowforge for about 2 years before we decided to upgrade to the Mira 9. We bought the Mira 9 in April of 2022. However, it didn't ship until October of the year. We got it unboxed immediately and did the test print on the Mira 9. However, we didn't really learn how to use it. So I didn't have all the settings or anything like that down because I was pregnant with our second child and didn't have time to learn it. 2 weeks after getting the Mira 9, I had our second daughter. I didn't have time to make her birth stat sign before going to the hospital, so I actually sent my husband back home while I stayed in the hospital for him to make the sign. But at the time, our Glowforge had this error message on it and it wasn't working properly. So he has to learn how to use it while I'm in the hospital because I tell him he's not allowed to come back unless he brings a sign with him. So, funny enough, our very first project on both the Glowforge and the Mira 9 are these birth stat signs for our daughters. After some time of getting used to the Mira 9 and getting all of our settings, we decided to sell the Glowforge since it really isn't keeping up with what we need. A couple of months later, Aeon announced that they're having this new competition to win a Mira 7. This is the summer 2023, and they're having this competition that they are giving away 4 different Mira 7s, all in June, one per week, and I decided to enter. Now, whenever I decide to do something, I like to go all in, and we entered almost every single thing that you could for 3 weeks straight. I was the third winner, and I won the Mira 7 on the third week. So now we have 2 lasers. We have the Mira 9 and the Mira 7. At this point, we have 3 different Etsy shops. We have our own Shopify website. We've joined Fair, and we are selling locally and have really expanded our offerings and products. This past summer, we decided to add some color to our laser work and get a UV printer. We went with PDS and got the Mamaki 6042 flatbed UV printer. We got it delivered in September, and so far, we're absolutely loving adding color to all of our projects. I mainly use wood, and so we've been laser cutting them first and then adding them to the UV printer second to add the color. The UV printer is still a learning curve, but something that I'm love doing right now. So our current list of equipment includes the Mira 7, the Mira 9, and the Mamaki 6042 UV printer. Okay, that's enough about me for now. I wanted to share with you the vision I have for the podcast. I want to share what I've learned in the last 8 years, talk with experts in the laser industry, meet with those just getting started to people who have mastered the craft, and talk about the different trends we are seeing in both the laser and business world. And I also just love the idea of helping folks make their little dream shop, their side gigs, or their full-time passion, make it a reality. I want to help you in any way that I can by creating resources to answer your biggest questions and concerns. So I invite you, shoot me a message or reach out to me or keep following for more resources. I'd love your ideas and input. I'd love you to know what you need. I feel like laser owners are more than just owning a machine. It's a community. And I really want to get back. I want to serve you and help you attain your goals. So I hope that this has been interesting for you today and hear where you've come from. I hope it's been encouraging to you and we can figure this out together. So thank you for hanging with me today, and I'll see you on the next podcast. Have a great one. And that's a wrap on our first episode, A Party with a Laser. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to our website, partywithalaser.com, where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episodes, the blog, and so much more. If this episode was helpful for you, awesome. That's the greatest compliment that I can receive from you is a rate, review, or subscribe on the podcast. Not only will this allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find the content more easily. I truly appreciate your support. Have a great day and see you next time on Party with the Laser.
BN. Have a great day. Bye-bye.